My 26F boyfriend, 29M, bought a ring. How to stop myself from freaking out, in a good way. So my boyfriend sat me down and had me pick out some different diamonds for me to look at. We had done this before and he had moved it to his cart but had not acted on it, resulting in the ring being sold. So when I picked one and he moved it to the cart with the band I picked out, he said okay, so this one will probably get sold too and we'll have to do this again. I laughed because I figured it was true. Well, turns out he bought it, lol. He was sitting at his laptop doing work when I came up to hug him from behind and chit chat. I noticed the ring company on his email and your purchase with. And saw another email on top of that saying he had had a conversation with a rep from the company, one of those rate your convo with. So I think it's safe to say he bought a ring. I don't think he's planning on proposing this year. We talked about it and he had made a joke about pushing the proposal from the spring 2021 to fall 2021 when we were messing around with each other. So maybe it'll still be spring, but I also don't know how long people just hold on to rings for, so maybe it'll be sooner. Anyway, how do I stop myself from spending each outing or trip or whatever as a potential proposal? I don't want to disappoint myself each time it doesn't happen or hype myself up in any way. Mostly because I want to be surprised. Wish he was better at hiding his email, lol. TL, doctor, saw over boyfriend's shoulder he purchased a ring. How to basically forget about it and not be expectant at every opportunity to propose so that I'm surprised and not disappointed. Edit, I want to say thank you so much to everyone who responded and those who left awards. I'm happy I can share my happiness with others. I got some really great advice. I'm going to look into an engraved watch. I'm also going to just enjoy this time leading up to a proposal, whether it's tomorrow or a year from now. Like a lot of you said, wedding planning is stressful, so the lead up is one of the fun parts. Thanks. Smile. First off, how exciting. I'm married, but I had a similar situation happen where I accidentally saw a picture of my ring before my husband proposed. And obviously I was anticipating a proposal constantly. Whatever you do, do not let him know you know he bought it. Kept it a secret from my husband and didn't tell him until this year, and he was so crushed. This is just as big of a deal for your BF as it is for you, and it's exciting. Just do your best to relax and rest in the knowledge that it is coming. Don't put pressure on it or lose hope when a perceived missed opportunity happens. He will propose when the time is right, and if you aren't stressed or constantly obsessing about it, it will be so much more special for you both. You know he bought it, you know it's coming sometime soon. Relax. It's gonna happen. Just enjoy each moment for what it is. Know that rings can take up to 10 weeks or longer to make, so know that you have the next month or two to relax, smile, and if he said sometime in 2021, then you've got all the time in the world to enjoy each moment together and have the best surprise of your life when it does happen. How about this? You pick out a significant gift for him, and set it aside, so that you can give it to him after he proposes. Because the proposal will have a declaration of love attached to it, he'll tell you how much he loves you, and your yes is also a declaration of love, but a gift in addition to the yes would let you make an eloquent speech about how much you love him back, when you give it to him. And also, with a gift set aside, you can basically put it out of your mind, because you're prepared for when it happens. That's a fantastic idea. Thank you. I will look into what a good gift would be. I have a couple things I know he wants, but they're not very romantic, so I'll keep that in mind. Is it so terrible to be excited? Smile. Just remind yourself not to be disappointed if it doesn't happen on a particular outing, because you know it's coming anyway. Girl better start getting her nails done come next year, lol. I, 30M, want to try to move in with my girlfriend, 31F, but I don't know if it's worth pursuing. We've been dating a year and a half. Solid relationship. We've never even had to raise our voices or argue over anything. We also live separately, renting. I really want to propose. She's the one. But I've always felt that moving in together is an important step before marriage. We discussed it twice, with 1 month between the question, and both times she said the same thing: I think about it, but I'm not ready. I respect her boundaries and drop it. And here I am yet again. I want to move forward, but I don't want to pressure her. I've googled the topic, I know the statistics, but I still want cohabitation. Should I respectfully push the issue a little more, or should I keep waiting? Too long. Didn't read. I want to propose to my girlfriend, but while I want to live together first, she is holding off. Sounds like you two need to have an open dialogue about timelines and how you see the relationship progressing. Living together before marriage shouldn't have to be a prerequisite. But if you really want that experience, what are you trying to gain from it, and could you start learning those things without fully moving in? For example, if you wanted to know if your living styles would clash, could you do a trial where you stay at her place for a few weeks, then she stays at your place for a few weeks? If you want to understand her financial values, can you have a Friday night where you both pop a bottle of wine, sit down, and discuss candidly finances? If her being not ready is code for I've never imagined myself cohabitating, then she may not ever get ready, and she just might compromise to make you happy. Would you want that? I think you should figure out what makes her not ready, and if it's due to value-based reasons or the relationship itself. If it's the latter, then you need to ask her what about the relationship needs improvement from her perspective, so you can work on that. What are her reservations about living together? Would she have to leave her apartment to get one with you, or would one of you move in with the other? How compatible would you be as roommates? Do you both keep your places clean, or is one of you a slob? Do you have the same taste in furniture? Would one of you expect the other to carry more of the mental burden for maintaining the household? As a woman in her 30s, I would not really want to give up my freedom and move in with someone unless we were in it for the long haul. I would especially not move in with them if I got any sort of hint that I would be stuck with the majority of the housework after the move. Been there, done that, not interested in being a bangmaid again. We discussed it twice, with 1 month between the question, and both times she said the same thing: I think about it, but I'm not ready. Right? They had 2 discussions and all he knows is I think about it, but I'm not ready. What does she think about it, and what does ready mean to her? If the 2 of them can't openly offer that information, him too, about his views on marriage and his timeline, which he definitely has, then they don't have a very strong relationship. Rather than push on the question of moving in, you need to have an actual conversation. You should be able to have a conversation with her about what sort of timeline she sees herself on as far as moving in, getting married, etc. This isn't a conversation which is trying to pressure her, or impose any timeline. It's just, you want to get her to talk about what she sees the next few years of her life looking at. And you can ask her what sort of things she thinks she needs in order to move in. Again, not in an accusatory way, but in a getting to know you, trying to understand my partner better, sort of way. I would go so far as to say that the fact that you haven't had these conversations, that you don't seem to have the ability to talk about stuff like this, strongly suggests that you shouldn't move in. Have a conversation with her. Ask her what needs to happen in order for her to be ready. Communication is really important. You should be able to talk about anything and everything openly with your partner. I highly recommend moving in together before marriage. Living together is a whole new playing field, and you really get to know someone for who they are. Better to do that before committing your life to them. Also, a little piece of me feels that if she isn't ready to move in together yet, she may not be ready for marriage yet. I would bring up the fact that you are ready, if you haven't said so already, but also let her know that if she still isn't ready, then that's fine. You don't want to keep pushing it, as this could push her away / scare her. As you said, you think she's the one, so isn't it worth waiting for? People aren't ready for the same things at the same time, but as long as you're on the same page about wanting those things in the future, just wait it out. Also, if she isn't ready to move in, she is probably not ready for a proposal. My 21F Muslim mom, 48F, will likely disown me for spending Christmas with my BF 24 meters. I, 21F, come from a Muslim background. I myself am not super religious and are barely practicing, but my mom, 48F, and the rest of my close extended family are. A little over a year ago, I met an amazing guy, 24 meters, and we started dating. Everything was great. I was in another city for an internship through school, but once that internship came to an end, I had to go back home. My BF and I decided that he would move to my city since I still had a degree to finish and he was wrapping up up his masters. Now that he was moving, we thought it would be an appropriate time to tell my mom. Only problem is that he's not Muslim, he's an atheist. It's not a problem to me at all, but I knew it would be for my religious mom, and so I prepared myself and my BF for the potential backlash. I honestly couldn't have told my mom without my sisters, 17F, help. She reassured me that everything would be okay and was supportive of my relationship. I ended up telling my mom and she took it much better than expected. She even met my BF over Thanksgiving and I thought everything was going well. I live at my university and came home this weekend and told her that my BF and his family had invited me to their home for Christmas. All hell broke loose. My mom basically told me I was flying across the country over her dead body and that if I went I shouldn't bother coming home. She accused me of caring more about my BF and his family than her, and it turned into a family crying and yelling fest. She thinks it's wrong of me to travel with my BF and stay alone with him somewhere. I reassured her I would be staying in the guest bedroom and that we'd be with his family, but she did not care. For COVID concerns she shouldn't have any because my BF is from a very small town with one COVID case so far, and in my country domestic travel is not limited. My mom is worried about how this will look to our extended family and that I'm going to look like a characterless girl. She's forbidden me from going. I had already made up my mind that I wanted to go and I didn't expect her to be happy about it, but I didn't expect her to have such a strong negative reaction. It honestly feels like if I go that I will be disowned. I know one Christmas isn't that big a deal, but I was really looking forward to going and I feel like I shouldn't let my mum dictate how I live my life. I'm a college student and as such financially dependent on her at the moment, but I do have money saved up and I think the money for my education is in an account in my name, so I should be able to access it even if she disowns me. I'm terrified of being disowned, but I think I'd be okay if that did happen. I love my mom and she's had to struggle a lot in her life to raise my sister and I. She dealt with my abusive dad for years until she finally left him and he died a few years back. I'm just lost and confused and don't know what to do right now. Should I skip out on this Christmas and keep the peace with my mom, or should I go and say to hell with it and deal with whatever the consequences may be, which I think I'll be okay dealing with. TLDR, my religious Muslim mom will disown me if I go with my non-Muslim BF to his family's home for Christmas. When you say you think the money for your education is in an account in your name, that sounds very vague. Make sure you gave access and your mum doesn't, or else she could transfer it to another account you don't have access to. Quite often parents have control of their child's accounts when they are under 18 and they aren't removed when the child becomes an adult, as people forget. Good luck in your decision. 20. If you think it's a real possibility that your mom will disown you and you're set on spending the holidays with his family, make sure you have your ducks lined in a row. Ensure you have all your important documents, and that you have enough funds to last you for at least half a year. You say you're financially dependent on her, figure out how not to be. You should start looking for a place to live and a part-time job. Figure out how to adult. As for whether or not you should spend the holidays with your boyfriend's family, that's entirely your decision. Just make sure you are prepared for any and all consequences.